Hi, this is Brian Kerr from Kava Labs. You're watching Breaking Bitcoin.
Hey guys, welcome back to Breaking Bitcoin. Hopefully you guys are doing absolutely fantastic today. This is your daily source for everything financial markets and cryptocurrency news and information. I'm your host, Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at crackingcryptocurrency.com. Again, hope you guys are all doing absolutely fantastic. We've got an incredible show for you guys today. There's a lot that I want to talk about. Obviously, the title of the show leading into today's main story, but it is Monday following a 3-day holiday for the 4th of July. Markets have opened back up. We are seeing, let's say, a little bit of bullish activity coming in today. And so we're going to break that down. We're going to look at quite a lot of the markets today. We're also going to introduce a few new segments, like reviewing what I consider to be my best trade of last week. And in this segment, I will also take the opportunity to look at other trades that have been submitted to me. I don't know what you guys want to call it, just reviewing the execution, the mentality and the discipline, just the overall execution of the trade. Because at the end of the day, as I always say, it's not necessarily the particular technicals of that trade or the probability of any individual trade or instance of a trade being successful or unsuccessful. It is the consistent application of strategy, discipline, capital management, position sizing, that are responsible at the end of the month and at the end of the year for paying the bills. All right, before we begin, we are proud to host one of the fastest online growing communities of cryptocurrency traders and investors and enthusiasts. Make sure to join us in the Discord at discord.crackingcryptocurrency.com to join our community for free. All right, let's start off with a little bit of what we're going to cover today. We are going to talk a little bit about the Chinese indice hitting new all-time high. And this, essentially, I'm gonna bring up the narrative, and it's interesting to consider, that this implies that overall China, economically, is a risk on when it comes to the financial markets. And when we apply the demand and the excitement for cryptocurrency investment that we certainly know, I mean, myself as a Western investor, coming from the East, this is pretty exciting moving forward for the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, looking at the cryptocurrency markets. And so you kind of have to wonder, on one hand, is the bearish narrative that, everything is a disaster and, the Fed is just barely keeping this train going and we're going to fall off the cliff at any moment in time. Everything is going to go up in smokes. 401ks vanished, dogs and cats living together, absolute pandemonium. Or do you say, well, listen, that is an argument that you hear, but all you have to do is point at the facts and look at the fact that China is entirely invested into the market. So interesting things to think about. Certainly, this can get very nuanced when we talk about, well, where else would you expect, capital injection to go to? Fraudulent money printing to go to. But the main thing we're going to focus on today is, it's relatively recent, and I think it's important because, when you talk about fundamental things happening, kind of watershed moments in history are generally, by definition, a moment in time where something happened that was so unique, so pivotal, or somebody or some group's response to some thing was so incredible and so unprecedented that it forever changed moving forward the way that we thought or considered that. Many situations, come to example. Not a single one to my mind at this moment, but certainly you can think there's watershed moments in your individual life and certainly historically that we all kind of refer to. I think the Overton window, like what is what is acceptable conversation, but, you know, kind of more than that, just what is the conversation that we tend to have? Like, what is the range of average conversation, and what is the general sentiment toward things or concepts? Like, what is the general sentiment? If you were to grab a random person, a truly random person out of the worldwide population, and ask them what their sentiment, what their conceptualization of cryptocurrency or Bitcoin specifically was, I think that you would have, well, a very different answer from what you would get 5 years ago from the same person, and a very different answer from what you would get 5 years into the future. Okay. So the things that we do, the conversations that we have, and the milestones that we're able to achieve as individuals and as a community help shift the frame of the conversation moving forward. And this is no different in the legal courts, particularly in Western countries or first world countries. So legal courts evolve on this concept of jurisprudence, right? So, you know, think about it. Like, what would, thinking back to the Nuremberg trials, during the Nuremberg trials, post World War II, individuals were tried for crimes that were not classified as crimes. So a logical legal defense was, well, how could I possibly be guilty of something that wasn't a crime? To which the defense argued, well, listen, the first people ever charged for murder could have made that same defense, but we know murder is wrong. Jurisprudence is the same. Like, courts tend to have a body of law and a body of opinion and a body of jurisprudence to draw upon when making decisions that may or may not be black and white. And it is court cases, it is unique court cases that evolve that window of jurisprudence and that frame of conversation. And so when Bitcoin goes before an appellate court, the concept of cryptocurrency or Bitcoin goes before an appellate court, and it deals with concepts of, is your data secure? Is your privacy secure? Like, what applications, how stringent is the Fourth Amendment, right? The right to not be burdened by the government by unreasonable searches and seizures, as well as it deals with warrants, among other things. How firmly and how deeply does that apply to Bitcoin? Where I would argue it should apply deeply. So when we get a court case like we're going to look at today, where somebody is blatantly messing it up for the rest of us, man, we'll get into that here in just a little bit. So anyways, definitely stay tuned for that. I want to give a big shout out. We'll see it here when we go over to the comments. The kind of the best comment that I saw scrolling through the comments was from DIY Guy. So big shout out to you, my friend. Thank you for the support. We'll look at that here in just a second. We'll be reviewing kind of my trade of the day, really the trade of the weekend, which was KNC USDT. We'll break that down. So I think we're good. Let's actually get into today's show. Yeah. Let's go to the main scene. All right, a little bit different. Oh, there you go. You guys get to see my script. Very professional. Boom. There we go. That is the screen I wanted you guys to see. Okay, so I still have not done anything about the C blocking your guys' view of things. It'll be okay. It'll be all right. T-Dub says, other YouTubers seem to have a notification set for my show just to thumbs down it. It's on haters. Listen, just a slight tangent rant right there. I have always enjoyed the concept of renting space in somebody's head for absolutely free. So if people that I don't even know or think about wake up in the morning like, man, that Justin guy, screw that dude. I clearly am doing something right. And it just means I have options if I want to look for vacation properties, if I'm not taking the analogy too far. Okay, before we get started, guys, like I said, I want to give a shout out to DIY Guy who left this comment on, I believe this was Friday's video, Breaking Bitcoin Market Analysis, Friday Market Update. Says, Justin has been kidnapped for his BTC. None the wiser. I do like the entendre, my friend. Thank you so much, DIY Guy, for the support. I didn't even like thumbs up and like, well, maybe that's a little too much, like thumbs up and liking my own comment. I don't know, man. DIY Guy, please send a message to support at crackingcryptocurrency.com, and they will gladly send you something from the gift bag. All right, moving on. I wanted to start off with my trade of the day. I posted this on TradingView. you guys can go to tv.crackingcryptocurrency.com. That's pretty long, so I will type it in the chat for you. Boom. Or you know what? I could just copy paste this direct link and put it in the chat. You could just click on that. All right, so let me expand this out a little bit, because if I had it on my own chart, it would be just a little cleaner, but we'll just break this down. So I posted 2 winning trades for the premium trading group on KNC USDT, and I posted them for Binance. But I personally took the trades on FTX. I have been using FTX, not really too much, but obviously I was sick kind of moving into the end of last week. And that gave me kind of a good opportunity to just basically lay in my bed and have my laptop and catch up on stuff that I hadn't had the time to catch up on. So again, I'm the kind of guy where if you show me a new product or service, like you're like, hey, check out this new exchange, it's totally awesome. I can't just click on that exchange, click the register button and start doing something. I need to read all of the documentation, all of the help articles, all of the facts. I need to review the prospectus. I need to probably have like 3 or 4, agonizingly long conversations with support, exchange a few emails until I find, that little nuance that makes me know I can successfully trade on this platform. But anyways, so, and I think one of the things, I'll post it maybe on Twitter later, but I don't really like to, I call it, FTX has this button that I call the flex button, and you click on it and you get this instantly shareable URL. You can instantly share it on Twitter, Discord, whatever. And it just basically shows like, man, your P&L, your entry, your exit, blah, blah, blah. Call that the flex button. When it's a copy paste to flex on a winning trade, it's a sign of the end times. And always listen, teaching my son about this last evening. We were playing Frisbee in the street with the neighbor kids. And the conversation got, naturally, we're a bunch of boys, and they're playing Frisbee. They get pretty aggressive. It's a fun time. And then all of a sudden, I am the king of Frisbee. Nobody messes with me. No, nobody likes to hear that after they just got their face smashed in at a Frisbee game. You want to hear a gracious winner say, hey, you did a great job, man. Maybe you'll do better next time. Not, I own your soul. Nobody wants to hear that. That's what, the people who say that live in their mother's basement. And they are ranting at people online that they don't meet because that's how they feel about their personal lives. 9 times out of 10. Like, that is generally the story. When people feel the need to boast and brag, it's because they are fundamentally unhappy about what's actually going on in their real life. So anyways, let's break this down. We'll make this quick. This is KNC USDT. I was doing quite a bit of discretionary trading. So this is going to be a little bit of a divergence from what we normally talk about. So we're going to be talking about things like measured movements. We're going to be talking about things like support and resistance, or BPCs, which are all covered in courses in our online training academy, but we'll be going over those. So July 2nd was kind of when this started. And I identified a rectangle top formation. Now, I talked about rectangle tops. I believe it was the last time we did a show. I don't actually remember what day that was now because I was sick most of last week. But the last time we did a show, I did talk about rectangle tops, and I actually have a tutorial for, this is for rectangle bottoms. So maybe later on this week, I will post a tutorial for rectangle tops here on TradingView. But I identified a rectangle top. And if you guys want to refer kind of to the source material, we have this obviously available for premium members in the premium library. But you guys can find this. It's online. This is Thomas Bulkowski's Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns. Pretty good resource. I had a physical copy of this, and it is literally fallen to pieces. So anyways, on July 2nd, the afternoon of July 2nd, I identified a rectangle top formation. So we were, let's kind of zoom in here just a little bit. So we were right here. It was right around here when I identified this rectangle top formation. And my idea was to set a limit entry, a bid at support, let price come down and fill my entry, and then take profit at the measured movement right here. Here's the range of the rectangle top, and here's the measured movement for the breakout and the measured movement for the breakdown. Now, although obviously if price were to have broken this to the downside, that would clearly be the wrong direction that I wanted my trade to go. However, I have found over my experience of doing this, it is a good idea to go ahead and whenever you are charting a chart pattern, whether it be a triangle or a double bottom, whether it's an Adam, Eve, Adam and Eve combination, or just really any chart pattern where you have a measured movement. Like, don't just measure in the direction that you need price to go for you to make money. Also measure in the direction that price might go where you will lose money. So the losing side, the side that is contrary to your position, your directional bias. The reason why is because A, it's just good practice, and B, often that is a decent reversion to the mean trade setup. So, keep that concept in your head. So anyways, price did not, KNC here did not end up filling my limit entry. As we can see, it kind of, made a little bit of a lower low here and then just, struck right up to resistance. Consolidated here briefly. This candle right is the 15-minute chart. So this would have been, honestly, entry anywhere around here would have been fine. But if you were there in that moment, most likely would have probably been upset if you entered on this candle, the breakout candle itself. You would have been quite happy if you waited for the pullback. So this is a BPC, a break pullback continuation. I cover this in the horizontal support and resistance tutorial. But price does end up breaking kind of back down below, which is fine, right? It's not even a throwback. It's just a retest, right? So price goes not very low, climbs back up, does back test and hold as support this time. And you can see what happened. I mean, just immediate, my measuring tool is not going to work here, but let's see here. 1.5, yeah, so almost a 8% movement coming out of KNC just off of that initial push off resistance. So I had gone ahead and when price closed above the resistance, I did set a limit entry at the potential resistance turn support. So right at the breakout point. So I believe it was 1.518. Let me just double check my trading journal here real quick. Yeah, 1.518. 1.518 is where I set my limit entry, and then ended up taking profit at 1.612, which was the measured movement to the upside, right? So that trade concluded. Obviously, there were quite a few opportunities moving forward in this range. So let's just kind of pull this back down. Limit entry not filled. Price closed above resistance. It pulls back and confirms it as new support. BPC setup. Entered long, with a market order at 1.652. I don't believe that is right. I think I must have posted that wrong because that is not 1.652. It was 1.5. Sorry, 1.518. 1.518. All right. Anyways, so I hit the first target in the morning of July 3rd. I sold 50% of my position. I filled at 1.812. Set a trailing stop loss from my entry price. So that means I've already hit my take profit. I am above my entry. So I set a trailing stop loss from my entry. I utilized 3 commas to do that because obviously Binance does not offer that natively. And if you guys are curious as to how I got these take profit targets in the first place, I simply measured the difference between upper resistance and lower resistance and applied them up and down. I recommend doing the math on this. You can do it in your head or you can do it on a calculator. Don't use the shift tool on TradingView where you actually, the measurement tool, the ruler tool. The reason why is because if you measure upwards, that is different from measuring downwards because a subtractive loss is compounds. Maybe I'm using the wrong terms here, but it's harder to gain. It's easier to lose, right? And the measurement tool takes that into effect. So if you do it the right way, it's fine, but it's easy to do it the wrong way. Moving into the later morning of July 3rd, ISIS spot, which is a strategy that I also utilize 3 commas to automate, as well as processes that we have at Cracking Crypotcurrency. Generated an exit signal, so I was able to get out fully at 1.827, so the trade was closed. So right there, that was 10.13% ROI. My average entry was 1.652. Took profit at 1.812 and 1.827. All right, so and then the 4th of July here. Yes, I know. I'm a bad person trading on the 4th of July. But anyways, as we can see, price basically consolidates following that exit signal, kind of drives all the way back up to resistance for a double top, pulls back down here to the original point of breakout. And I identified that. I saw that price had pulled back to, excuse me, not back to the resistance that was broken, but to my original profit target, right? So I identified the ISIS spot buy signals here and the kind of the double pattern. And also there is regular bullish divergence here. And I took the ISIS spot signal as the initiator, and I used Quadriga, which is one of our proprietary indicators, to measure my take profit as I should. Just market entered. Let's see here. $1.657 was my market entry on that one. 1.657 was my market entry, and I set my take profit for 1.743 for 50% of my position. In this scenario, as you guys can see, when I did enter, all right, so here's my entry right here, limit entry, and price. I ended up entering right around here on kind of the breakout, and price, oscillated for a while. I wasn't really looking at the charts. I was enjoying the 4th of July. But here we can see price just sneak right up there to 1.743 before pulling back down. So my stop loss did automatically move to my break-even price. So I didn't make as much money on that trade as I wanted to, but it was still a successful trade. So that one right there was only 2.60%. But in total, I was able to pull almost 13% out of KNC USDT. Well, actually KNC perp, excuse me, on FTX over the weekend. So that's kind of the trade of the week, trade of the day. And tomorrow we'll look at some other analyst trades because I think that is a good thing to do. All right. Okay. So DIY guy, KNC USDT. Before we get going, guys, we're going to hop into the markets. Just remember, today's show is brought to you by the Cracking Cracking Cryptocurrency Premium Trading Group. If you guys are watching the markets, watching the charts, wanting to learn how to understand these, how to build your own objective trading system, where you don't have to rely on anybody else, where you can just trade the way that you want to trade, a method that works, make sure to check out everything that we do and join our community. You can find out more information with the links in the description, or go to premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. The services we currently offer are our premium indicator suite, our premium signal service, our online trading academy, as well as our private online Discord community. So great resource. And by the way, I do have to actually mention this because in a week we are going to be launching. It's been listen, guys, we've been doing this for almost 3 years. It has been an incredible run. We've met some of the most incredible people. We have some of the best students. We have, in my opinion, the best trading community you could possibly ask for. So in a week, so obviously we've had a lot of people come. We've had a lot of people go over the years. It's just how it goes. Not everybody wants to be in the trading group forever. Individuals that do, we have lifetime members, obviously. But it's just, it's a natural progression. Individuals join the group, they learn what they need, and then they progress and kind of move on. And they stay in the community, obviously, as legacy members or part of our free community. But they've just gone through their natural transition. And that's what we're here to do. We're not here to, it's not a, membership in the Cracking Cryptocurrency community is not something that you get and will always need. It is, it's an oasis in the desert. It is an oasis in the desert to help you find what you need to execute and accomplish what you want, which is identifying profitable trade setups and developing a strategy to actually profit from these setups. Right? It is relatively probably easy for individuals to spot trade setups, but to do something with that information is something else entirely. So the strategy, the vehicle, the methodology of how to consistently preserve capital, of how to position size, of how to think psychologically about trading, how to approach the markets, because at the end of the day, the greatest enemy is yourself. So anyways, we've obviously seen a lot of individuals go, but we have added so many new features over the last particular year. So we've got the online trading academy that is going live very, very soon. I'm finishing up the last little pieces on it. So that's going to be a game changer. We've got the new indicators in the premium indicator suite. We're very close to publishing ISIS spot. We have so much new educational material, such a wider community, so many more tools, indicators, features, strategies that we want to invite members who were in our community, particularly in 2017, 2018, 2019, who, maybe haven't seen what we've added to the community. So we're going to be launching a big campaign for those individuals. The emails are going to be going out on Monday. So if you guys were a member of our community, were ever a member of our premium community at any point over the last 2-3 years, and you've been kind of looking, maybe waiting for the 4th of July sale, which we're obviously not doing right now, we've got something for you. We've got something for you. We take care of our people, and we want to offer good opportunity for you guys to come back in. So it's going to be a pretty ridiculous sale. I think, again, you guys, we have the contact information, so you will get an email. You guys are gonna like the email. So if you are one of those individuals and you've been waiting for that opportunity, well, just wait for an email. Now, in the rare event that we perhaps, again, stuff happens, that you do fit this bill and you do not get an email over the next week, feel free to contact us. Our support desk at support@crackingcryptocurrency.com. It's on the website. Go to the website, see the contact us form, and they will make it right. We'll figure it out. All right. So now, 27 minutes into the show, let's get into Bitcoin today right now. All right, overall market sentiment, things are relatively bullish. Everything is in the green. We can see that the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow are up. That is good, obviously, for Bitcoin. The Dixie down 0.38 or 0.37 points, which is kind of to be expected, particularly with risk on assets doing well. Gold futures and silver is really not doing too much, but silver, a consistent earner. I'm not exactly sure. Listen, I certainly do. So let me back up there. I am a silver stacker. Sorry about that. I am a silver stacker. I stack physical gold. Obviously, I'm a Bitcoiner. I'm a Bitcoin maximalist, even with that. But I'm not exactly sure how much physical gold exists in the world. I don't think anybody does. And we just covered that story last week of, billions of gold being, what's the word I'm looking for? Not fabricated, counterfeited. So a ton of Chinese gold locked in vaults that had been used as the basis for collateral and loans. You have to understand that if that is happening on a more massive scale, and that comes home to roost, that the actual prices, the demand for actual silver and gold and these precious metals that we have been told to believe exist in this quantity. But if there is some sort of worldwide audit and come to find out it is a far smaller quantity, and that there is all this fraudulent gold and silver and precious metal in the banking environment, the demand is going to skyrocket. Because what you would be doing is essentially chopping supply down exponentially and keeping demand the same. Simple, supply and demand economics. The less supply there is and the more demand drives prices up, and the more supply there is and the less demand drives prices down. So definitely something to watch, because it does feel, certainly if you just pay attention to everything that's going on, it does certainly feel like we are moving closer and closer to one of those watershed moments for ourselves. And obviously Bitcoin and the major cryptos performing moderately well today. So let's see if they're going to perform more than moderately well today. Maybe you guys couldn't see that at all. All right, so let's get down to this chart right here. We're going to keep things relatively simple today with just the BitMEX funding and premium index indicator and my ISA spot indicator. So before we do that, so again, not what we normally look at, guys. Not going to look at the traditional indicators today. So let's just look at what's going on. I had marked this red line on the chart last week, actually. And just a logical area, right? This is previous support, so we can see it multiple times. And where are we kind of at? So let's actually look at this chart real quick. This is kind of my classical TA chart. We'll hide Bollinger Bands for just a second. And, again, here is the thesis that I'm working with here. If I had to put this into a box, I would say this is a rectangle top. We can see here, if we identify, let's just say 99.80, I have it as 99.79.6. This is on the Bitfinex chart. And 86.31 as support, I have it as 86.31.8. Again, you can just vary those numbers a little bit or disagree with me completely. It's fine, but I think it makes good logical sense. Price is consolidating with a clearly defined level of resistance and a clearly defined level of support, which puts the majority of the market in this mood and attitude where there's going to be a big move. Just look at the chart. Look how fast and how far we drove up just in a matter of a couple months. Bro, 150 plus gains, percent gains. do you not see that people are distributing? I don't. I actually think this is a quite bullish chart. If I really just zoom out and look at price action and price structure, not just in the sense that it's a rectangle top, and I do feel that we are in a bull market, whether or not it's a healthy bull market, I mean, I would certainly prefer to be in a bull market where the world economy was actually performing amazingly. And, you know, cures for cancer just got dropped yesterday. And, you know, we've got AI figured out. We're totally going to do it in a way that doesn't kill everybody. Everything's amazing. You know, everybody's just making so much money. I would certainly prefer to be in that sort of bull market rather than the like Hunger Games, you know, Ready Player One post-apocalyptic money printing nightmare that we seem to find ourselves in. Plus, there's also this infectious disease running around, I believe. So I've been told. But hey, you know, you got to know you got to know how to play the hand that you're dealt. So we are in a bull market, whether we like it or not. The Fed injecting just unprecedented amounts of liquidity and currency into the monetary system has a very predictable effect of rising asset prices. And then it also has a fairly predictable effect compounded over time, which is an increase in wealth inequality. It is more money going to, you know, not just the 1%, but the 0.1% of the 1%. Because, you know, literally the money is printed and distributed to commercial banks who purchase assets, and the wealthiest cohort in, you know, any economy, particularly in the United States, just owns the vast majority of assets, financial assets, stocks, common stock, and the lower 70%, the lower cohorts of the American society, the economic cohorts just do not actually own a lot of property. So because that money is going into assets that they don't hold, they're not going to make any money. So this really is, even though, again, as it's very widely known, like, you know, kind of Republicans never invented the term trickle down economics. That is a kind of a misnomer, but this certainly is trickle down economics. The closer you are to the source of currency creation, the wealthier you can become in the short term. But obviously this process of printing money, not backed by anything, just is unsustainable in general, and it's only a matter of time, because it's always just been a matter of time. Every single time a human society develops a fiat monetary system that is not backed by anything of intrinsic value, and we can, you know, sit here and have the philosophical argument of, well, there is no such thing as intrinsic value. Yes, there is. You know it in your soul. You know it in your heart. If you were forced to make a decision right now, and you've got gold in one hand, cash in your pocket, and your ledger in another hand, and you've got to buy a sandwich, what are you going to use to buy that sandwich with? You're going to use the cash. You're not going to spend your gold. You're not going to spend Bitcoin on that sandwich in front of you. You're going to pull the worthless paper dollar notes out of your pocket that say, this note is legal tender, and pay for that sandwich. All right, with that being said, so we've got measured movements based off of this rectangle top formation, which just kind of helps give us areas to work with to the upside and to the downside. Remember earlier I said it's always important that when you're kind of charting a chart pattern, that you measure for the evolution working in your favor and working against your favor. Now, ultimately, I think this is a macro bullish chart. I think, and again, this is true. Like if we just refer to Bulkowski's Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns, and you can go to the section on rectangle tops, and do the arduous task of scrolling all the way down to the table of contents. Here we go. I'm not actually going to go down there, but here we go. Rectangle tops. You can find it on page 579. You can see that they have a high probability of breaking to the upside, particularly in bull markets, which I said we are in. So the likelihood that we actually break to the upside of this and, you know, close above $10,000 resistance and get to 11,327 is certainly greater than not at this point in time. If we zoom out here, we also see that we are consolidating under this really long-term, and again, I don't really think trend lines, diagonal trend lines particularly, are that significant. That's why you almost never see me draw them. But when I do draw them, excuse me, they are significant. So here I've just measured the peak, the highest price in 2017 during that bull rally, 2019 in that bull rally, and of course 2020. So continuing lower highs. However, what I do really like about where we're at right now is consolidation in a tight range underneath resistance. Okay, this is a bullish sign generally on any time frame when price consolidates underneath resistance. And again, I think that you can because I told this to somebody the other day and they said, well, look, man, look at this consolidation underneath the resistance. Nah, I mean, you can just look at this consolidation and see the qualitative difference, right? First off, let's measure. Let's zoom in here. All right. So let's measure the advances and declines. So we have a run up. We actually hit resistance. Let's turn magnet mode on. And we have an initial sell off of about 30%. All right. 30%. Okay. And actually, you know, that's over the course of almost a week. Within 48 hours, we did sell off almost 25%. Boom, bam. Then we rally immediately, back up another 35% before having a 31% sell-off. I mean, literally anybody running a bot, in this environment would have done pretty good. Another 35% advance, again, 22% decline, and so on and so forth. So you guys see the width of this range, the height of this range, as it were. And again, even in Bulkowski's Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns, he talks about chart patterns and their height as a good predictor of how successfully they will play out, or kind of how aggressively they will reach their measured movements. All right, so let's go over to what we're seeing right now. Do we see that same volatility? Do we see that same momentum? Not really. We do see similar behavior, but what I want you to kind of pay attention to is another thing as well, which is, look, 1, 2, 3. 3 kind of tests, if we consider that diagonal trend line, and yes, I know, bear with me. Let's just consider it significant for a moment. All right, let's just consider that significant for just a second. If we consider it significant, then we can see that after the initial test, price ran back up and touched it once, and does that count? Does that count? I mean, we're going to tell everybody at the bar that that totally counted, right? But again, we're off just a little bit, right? So we really only touched it a second time after the initial test, and just barely whiffed it on the third. And then look how low, you know, these are. I don't even know what this is. This like if you went long here and like closed out here, like you wouldn't even tell your best friend about that trade when you just saw this. All right, so I think quite a distance away from the actual, if we actually consider what I do think is significant, which is, and I'm gonna have to take off drawings for this, which is not diagonal lines, but horizontal liquidity pools, like areas in the market. Because what do you see? Like when you look at a chart with no lines on it, what you're always gonna see on every chart is a representation of price, either a line or candlesticks, and then a vertical scale here on your right, that lists prices from low to high, and those are horizontal x-axes. X-axis. What's the plural of that? It's the x-axis, right? So you can see, like, you know, the price exists for vertically, right? So vertically and horizontal lines. So the mind, maybe it's all the graph charts that we sat through in middle school, but your brain is certainly naturally conditioned to think that way anyway. So I don't think that most individuals' minds, and it just doesn't matter whether you're a whale or a retail trader, or just Joe Friendly down the street. You're not thinking about price in diagonal terms. You're thinking about price in terms of horizontal, right? For example, like if I ask you off the cuff, hey, where's your take profit and stop loss? Your mind is likely to measure. Say your entry is like somewhere around here. You're gonna think, well, price go up, it's up here, or stop loss, lose money, price go down here, not diagonally, horizontally, or excuse me, vertically, right, up and down, right, horizontal axis. I'm probably horribly embarrassing myself, like mispronouncing and not knowing the plural for axes. So let's just correct that. Axes. Yeah, I was just testing you guys. You passed, just barely. All right. So let's go over here and I think significantly different, right? After the, let's just say initial test, we have, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 tests all in extremely close proximity. We can just very, very clearly see here horizontal resistance around the 9,900. You know, we can even, again, guys, this stuff is not what I'm doing right now. This just getting just kind of drawing a roadmap of the charts. This stuff is not rocket science. Like, there's not a perfect it's not a perfect price level. It's not a perfect indicator. It's just rules and applying those rules consistently across time and price. Because even if you, like, there's nothing about my measurement or my calculations that are necessarily superior to yours. It's just, this is the way that I have learned to do things, and it is successful. And it's successful because I do it consistently, right? So even if I'm wrong, let's say that my method is like entirely crazy. Oh my God. It is consistently wrong. Oh my God, crazy. And there's nothing out there, at least as far as I've seen, there's not a single trading strategy that doesn't at least once in a while produce a winning trade, right? Blind squirrel can find a nut once in a while. So again, we can very, very clearly see horizontal resistance. Now, personally, when we get to current price action, I am of a mind to short this. I am actually short right now, even though I think the bigger picture here is bullish. Where I think we are is what I would like to call the land of false support. Let's see this wick down here, indicating that sellers ran into liquidity, and then wick. So we see absorption, and typically, you know, this kind of absorption of sell side flow is where I'd get pretty bullish, and I'd be like, yeah, sellers hit a wall. There is clearly some buying interest here, and obviously there is, like, because price has been bid up. But I just look down here and I see this support, and I'm just really of a mind that it feels far more likely that gets tested. I just feel a little bit too much bullish enthusiasm on the social media platforms, and, you know, to be quite honest, in the Discord than I would normally see. So I am of a mind that this is a good area to get that short exposure, and we'll see. I am, to be fair, as far as my other accounts like Binance and FTX and work. Actually, well, so Binance margin and FTX, I am pretty long, and I am in a lot of trades in ETFs, CFDs, and Forex as well. So I have a pretty good risk portfolio right now. A very, very good profile that I'm very happy with. I don't have a lot of, well, to be quite honest with you, my biggest risk on for that anyways, when it comes to cryptocurrency, is Bitcoin. Because remember, guys, I trade Bitcoin aggressively. So my Bitcoin, the majority of it anyways, is in cold storage, right? I don't want to get a little bit too more specific than that, but it's in cold storage. And it's not in USDT. It is in BTC. And I am of a mind that that is going to be something that pays off. But as far as the money that I have on ByBit, I think that is better applied to a leveraged short position at this current point in time. All right, so let's delete these price ranges. Okay, I think that's good for right now. Let's go back to this chart on Bitfinex again. Let's pull up the 4-hour. And okay, so this is really what I'm working with on the meso timeframes here. Again, consistent resistance here at around 93.30. Actually, the limit entry filled. Let me pull this open. There we go. Go into studio mode. Oh shoot, I didn't fix that yet, did I? Studio mode, ticker ID. Come on. There we go. There we go. Let's see. Boom. Okay, cool. Got that fixed. All right, now. Oh, that's rough. Won't even like pick it up. Just a second, guys. I know this is embarrassing. There we go. Okay, geez. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here is my premium live trades. This is my open trades, and I'll get into this too much. But my BTC USD trade here, we can see on row 18. Yep. So 93.50. I had been talking about this actually since last week. So that actually has filled now. So I won't show you guys the drudgery of how I actually push that through on the back end, but needless to say, it involves a lot of slave labor. So 93.50, I'd actually gotten a little discretionary. I do have another short in with an average entry. Well, 91.85 and a half was my initial entry, and then I added at 92. I'm not going to be able to tell you because I don't have my VPN on right now. Actually, you know what? I got my phone here. Yep, here it is. I got my phone here. I'll tell you guys. Take one for the team. Pull open the ByBit app on my backup phone during the live stream. Don't forget this moment, guys. All right, I will let you guys guess. I will give $5 in Bitcoin to the live stream viewer who correctly guesses what area of the globe do I connect to for my VPN, right? So obviously I use a VPN. Like, where do I make websites think I come from? Is it France, the UK, Australia? Ooh, by the way, guys, speaking of the ByBit app, if you guys go and update your strategy plan, it takes like 30 seconds. You get a free $5. ByBit app. I got you guys back. All right. Well, my average entry is 92.72. I'll show you guys that. Boom. Oh, that's terrible. Come on, man. That's whoa, hello. There we go. That's 4 Bitcoin. 92.72. All right, so that. So let's just see if we get some follow through on this doji resistance right, or excuse me, kind of rejection right at resistance. Obviously, you know, kind of watching this throughout the opening session. Let's get ISIS spot in here. We were in heavy premium for the most part. Which is interesting because if we kind of zoom out, here we got the 4 hour here. If we kind of zoom in here, well, this is, oh, excuse me. You know what? This is embarrassing. That's Ethereum. XBT. Mistakes will be made. There we go. So we are in, and this is evident because I talk about this like every day. We were in excessive backwardation, meaning that the price of Bitcoin futures, so perpetual futures on BitMEX, so the most popular platform to trade, the most liquid way to trade Bitcoin, was lower than spot price. And what this indicates is that there is a very large amount. It's very. I mean, it's fairly self-evident. If derivatives price, if futures price is lower than spot price, then it means that there are more people selling on the futures than on the spot markets. And because on the futures markets, the derivative markets, you have access to margin and leverage, and you have just generally more liquidity because of that access to margin and leverage. It is far easier for individuals to make, let's say, reckless bets and gambles, okay? Because they have access to the tools to do it. On the non-margined platforms like Coinbase, for example, and like Bitfinex, you only get a certain amount of leverage. Kraken, you only get a certain amount of leverage. Coinbase, well, I guess now you actually do get a certain amount of leverage, but it's very, very small. But you get I would say a responsible level of margin, right? A responsible level of margin, not BitMEX, right? Where, and again, I shouldn't talk too much smack because I trade on ByBit, but 100x leverage, even 25x leverage, it's just not the way to do things. And I've talked to so many intelligent individuals that come to me and they have a trading strategy, they have a trading plan, and it's very well thought out. It's a great concept. It's good back testing, and then they show me that it's hey, this bot runs on 25x leverage, it goes all in all the time, and and I sigh, and they're like, no, listen. I'm like, no, you listen, man. Like, I've been doing this for almost a decade, and I've never seen one of these work. I have never seen a bot that is designed to operate on a leverage that's greater than 10, and that's cutting it close. 10x. Be consistently successful after a year, right? I have certainly seen bots show good performance in the short term, but not over a year. All right. So, anyways, so we saw basically throughout this starting. Let's let it load here. Yeah. So starting basically right after this sell-off, we had heavy backwardation. Below 0.1%. On neobutane's indicator, which is a level that I've pointed out. This coincides. We can go down to the 15-minute chart here and see on Bitfinex and see big wicks to the downside, big sell side volume, all generally good indicators of a local bottom. Okay. There's actually another pretty cool indicator that I actually haven't talked about in quite a while, but it's called VIX Fix. Let me see, maybe it's CM Williams. Oh, come on now. Can't think of the name of it now. Let's just try VIX. VIX Fix finds market bottoms. I got this, guys. Don't worry. For scripts. All right. I'm not even starting to feel a little defeated yet. Not even a little bit. Here we go. Boom. CM Williams. Now we're going to refresh the chart so that my favorites list updates. Go to my favorites. Oh, it was right there. Aha. CM William, VIX Fix finds market bottoms. Great indicator. I use this for a long time. If you guys go back to, like all of 2018, I used this indicator. But anyways, we can see it. This is a relatively easy indicator to use. Let's just scroll out. You can see it down here. You kind of have this kind of histogrammy but column-y representation. And when you get, out of nowhere, like it's pretty easy to see. There's gray, everything is gray, and then a green column. Hey, this might be a local bot. This might be a bottom, right? Certainly like wrong here. I mean, that was a reverse bottom. Let's, there we go. Hey, spot on. And over here, it kind of got you in a little too early, but if you would have entered kind of when these signals started, so right here, if you would have entered around here and been patient, you certainly would have been rewarded. And then it just nails it, right? So obviously the height of the bar corresponds to the underlying calculation that's taking place, or the likelihood that price is likely to reverse. So the volume trends stop, or local trends stop on generally large movements and high volume. And this, you can just call it whatever you want. This is the market expending itself. Dun, 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 dun. So right here at about 2 o'clock this morning, when I was awake, IsaSpot fired a sell signal. Right now, IsaSpot, I've actually spent a lot of time over the last month tuning this, and it's really dangerous right now. I honestly have it tuned so well and have it running so much for me now that I'm a little ambivalent about offering it as a service. I've spent like 2 years of my life on this. So you know what is it? I don't know. I don't understand IsaSpot. Anyways, so it kind of told us to sell right in this area. This is exactly as price moves from backwardation into a little bit of premium. And granted, could have waited a little bit, but again, I did actually take a market short entry here. I'm actually short from right here, and then I did add again. Like I said, my average entry right now is 92.72. But what I do like to see is this premium pickup. Now, we are at that 93.50, so I now have 2 short positions filled, because not only did I take the IsaSpot signal, as I knew we were approaching resistance, and I wanted to be short anyways after taking... So I'll be honest about this. So I was sitting in front of my computer, and it was right here. It was... So this was yesterday. And I saw this candle. I didn't obviously have CM Williams up, but I saw this candle right here. And I saw the backwardation, and I said to myself, that's a candle I want to go long on. So I had ByBit open in front of me, and I market entered into a long. And then I turn to my left to the monitor that has the kind of my input system for providing premium signals. And I start typing in the Bitcoin long, and within... So what is that? 5th at 16.15. Boom. All right. Okay. So this is the 1 second chart. So I entered a trade. I'd have to go back and look at my average entry, but it was decent. And I put on the trade. I think it was only about like 3.5 Bitcoin. And I turned to my left to input BTC UST, the long trade, and price, like by the time I'm not even done like writing it, it was more than this. I feel like it was more than this. Yeah. I mean, it just popped. I mean, like 2% in just less than a few minutes. And I just didn't get time to send the signal. So I saw that, immediately limit closed. It was like $423, which I felt was a good income for a Saturday that I wasn't even supposed to be working. So sorry about, I guess there's really nothing to be sorry about, but these things do happen. This is the behind the scenes that you don't see on the front end of the trading group. All right, so anyways, a couple things that I don't like happening right here is this consolidation underneath resistance. I do like the big volume spikes, indicative of a local top. Maybe I am narrating this too much, which can often be a sign that you're in a losing trade when you are narrating like all the components of the trade, because it's going to play out. Either way, it's going to play out, right? It's either going to continue to move up, or it's going to continue to move down. I feel like if we do move up from here, this is a pretty good break, a significant break of 93.50, which is a level I've had my eye on at least since we fell below and started consolidating, and I had enough data here to kind of get a roadmap for what I thought was going on. 93.50 was the level that I wanted to be short from, and with my initial setup, which the premium members can see, you guys will recall that it is a relatively tight stop loss. It's not a hard stop loss. But it certainly does not leave a lot of room for price to wiggle. If we start moving up, I do not want to be short anymore. And, kind of conveniently, as Alex and Jason both pointed out to me, that will be giving us, the reason why is because that will be giving us a daily close above the baseline. So this is the Hall Moving Average 60, and we are on track to close above it for the first time in quite a while, right? We have a fake out here, but really the last time that we spent a significant amount of time above the baseline was back in May. So, we've pretty much had all of June, and actually a good chunk of May, and all of June, and so far all of July, just chilling under the baseline. Couple exceptions here with the Hall 60, like we get a little bit of chop right there, and a little chop into the baseline, but not passing the Keltner channels, but nothing significant. And as far as the Donchian system, yeah, the Donchian system's been a little bit more distraught. I'm not going to lie here. We are above the baseline for the majority of the move from March. So, we kind of have a couple of movements here. If you kind of break Bitcoin down, we have the March meltdown, and you can just tell, like, based on who buys, like who made out in this area, right? So you have the, hold my beer buyers who saw that slide to the downside and they said, son of a bitch, I'm in. You guys get the Rick and Morty reference? Senior analyst Alexander is one of those people. We were on the phone when, during this candle, when it was all going down. And I said, what are you doing? I heard his keyboard clicking. He was on vacation. He's like, I'm logging on to Coinbase. Like, why? So I could buy Bitcoin, dude. I could buy Bitcoin for almost $3,000. Like, what are you talking about? I'm gonna buy Bitcoin. And then you have, kind of the more conservative individuals who, kind of like me, who saw price drop like that. And they're like, whoa, man, could get another one of those big red candles. Whew, did you see the SPY lately? Oh my God, I didn't even know things could move that fast. Circuit breakers. So you have kind of your normal enterers here, right? Who entered right around this consolidation area. And then you have, Joe. Joe, that dude at the office who, keeps sending you the unwanted Facebook friend requests, even though you have tried to, kind of politely make it clear to him that, bro, we are not going to hang out after work. Anyways, so let's get rid of those. Oh boy. All right. You guys having a good time? We need to take a brief break here for just a second. So we can actually get into the news for today. Now, all right. So where is my... Okay, cool. Yeah, so, I've done enough. Actually, sorry, hold on. Let's finish this up, and then we'll get into Ethereum when we come back. So, I'll let you guys be the judge over narration, or, I'm going to buy a new apartment complex this week. But with that being said, if you are going to trade Bitcoin, whether you agree with my setup and you're short as well, or you think I'm a fool and we're just getting ready to blast right through resistance, right through my non-existent stop loss and into the absolute stratosphere. If you're going to be trading based off any setup, please make sure that you're doing so safely. Whenever you deposit cryptocurrency onto an exchange, there is always, for me anyways, there's always that thought in the back of my head, like, okay, is this going to be the moment? All right. Am I going to wake up? Am I going to get that Mt. Gox coming in the mail? First thing I wake up to, I go to my inbox right there next to the $5 off coupon that Fazoli's always sends me no matter how many times I hit the unsubscribe button. It's always there. I'm not saying that I dislike it, right? Because obviously I've let it go on because those breadsticks are fire. But the last thing I want to wake up to, and the last thing you want to wake up to, is a horror story email from some rickety exchange talking about their latest exploit and how it may affect you as a customer and how they're taking all steps to, make you whole. Yeah, right. Okay, cool. Yeah, I've seen that quite a few times. No, thank you. I want to sleep easy at night. I want to conduct my trades, and so do you. You want to conduct your trades on a reliable exchange that offers a good user experience that's easy to use, that isn't overly complicated, and has tools that even a professional like myself find quite adequate. So, again, if I can recommend one, which I will because I use it, it's ByBit. I used to trade on BitMEX a lot. I made the switch. I'm pretty vehemently against BitMEX now. I actually haven't taken a trade on BitMEX for several months now, right? I used to always, for those of you guys who watch the show quite a bit, I used to always say like, well, I still like kind of trade like altcoins over there. No, I don't do that anymore. FTX is way better if you want to do that. Binance margin is now way better. And 3 commas has really beefed up because you can use 3 commas with Binance margin now, no issues. Big shout out to B-Flow. I remember he was like describing to me back in the day, like, well, you could do like, you got to buy and then you got to do the smart cover. And then if you hold Alt Tab in just the right frequency, you can actually get it to let you, no, man, like, no, that's not an easy or enjoyable user experience. I want to be able to click, set my options for the trade and go. I've got stuff to do. I am a single father. But anyways, ByBit's like that. It's got a great user experience for me anyways. And I have honestly enjoyed my trading way more on ByBit than I ever did on BitMEX. So yes, warning, trigger alert, shill. If you guys use the link in the description, you do get a $50 margin bonus. It's not as sweet as all things in the world. Like you can't withdraw it. You can't go blow it at Macy's, but you do certainly get it. And you can use it to make real money. So, hey, have fun. You can use the link, $50, 100x. Don't do that. Do not do that. And again, I've been trading on ByBit for, actually, it's getting close to, it might be over a year now. And as I said, it's the most enjoyable experience. So again, I only promote and represent the products and services that I like. So we probably delete about 20 emails a week from cryptocurrency services like hello, this is Olaf from worldsbestcryptoservice.co. We are very interested in your YouTube channel. We loved the other day how you talked about CHC. Yeah, man, I've never even charted CHC. Do you do affiliate? No, we don't, dude. We're not, can we give you 50? No, you cannot give us money to promote your product and service on our YouTube channel. No, if I, don't call me, I'll call you. If I like you, like for example, here we go. HyperX, I love your RAM, love your headphones. Not a sponsor. It could be. Call me. All right. Anyways, links bybit.crackingcryptocurrency.com it is in the description. You can click on it, help out the channel. All right. Moving into that. Speaking of staying on top. Yeah, you like that transition. Speaking of staying on top of the markets, to achieve that, you got to stay on top of what's going on, hence staying on top of the news. And to that effect, here's what's cracking today in the news with our cryptocurrency segment. Let's go. All right, our first story today is going to be essentially a rant from me about the Fourth Amendment. All right, essentially a rant from me about the Fourth Amendment because if I have not made my political views strong enough, here we go. All right, so I never thought I would have to say this, but today on this channel, live for you to see, I am very, very glad that American judges ruled against privacy today. Let me restate that. I am happy that judges in the United States struck down a plea for respect for privacy in the United States. And yes, you might be asking like, Justin, what is this? Are you changing colors? Did you go to that Antifa rally? I knew it. Did you smoke something somebody offered you? No, I didn't. I'm still like very, again, I say this and now listen, here's how crazy it's becoming. I have for a long, long time, like kind of interchangeably said or described myself as, yeah, like a libertarian, kind of like an anarchist, kind of like Slash over here. I kind of think that the government sucks at everything that it does. Ideally, I think that everybody should work to be self-sufficient and sustainable and be pretty excellent to one another. But at the same time, like actually be excellent and not suck because you kind of have to be a pretty badass human being to deserve that environment, right? The John Galt environment. You can't just be any geek off the streets, as Warren G would say. You got to earn your keep. Be handy with steel. So with that being said, like I said, describe myself as libertarian / anarchist / maybe a little bit of that. Obviously back in college, leaned far more to the left, was an activist, all that stuff, right? And we didn't even talk about the moving on. It's getting to the point now where like you can't even say that. And this is certainly to me signs of the end times, right? Like, all right, guys, Apocalypse Bingo, who had meth gators for June, right? I'm still holding out for Yellowstone Caldera in August. Fingers crossed. 2028. Now, when individuals who claim to philosophically or emotionally like argue in favor of human liberty and freedom are engaged with a large majority of their time about having semantic arguments with other individuals of the same cloth on Twitter, get out of here, man. Big shouts to Giacomo Zucco. If you guys want to follow somebody on Twitter that that is what they say on the sticker, crypto anarchist, doesn't pull any punches and is honest about it, definitely go give him a follow. He's one of my favorite people to follow on Twitter. So that's I've never done that FF thing on Twitter. So here on YouTube, FF, Giacomo Zucco. Shout out to you, my brother. All right, so the reason why I'm happy though is because Richard, I want to make sure I pronounce this scumbag's name all right. Gratkowski. Listen, nothing against anybody who, I mean, you know, that's kind of like, you know, Eastern European, slight Slavic, you know, Polish a little bit, like no disrespect to you guys, your culture. But at least where I'm from, that's a suspicious sounding last name. I'm going to get like 1,900 emails following the show that says, Justin, Gratkowski is the most popular surname in Poland, Latvia, Lithuania. And there's a class action lawsuit against you right now. All right, sorry, guys. But Richard Gratkowski, he is a former employee of a federal agency. Yes, ICE, Immigration's Customs Enforcement. They of the, I got nothing. They of the, probably don't invest in their uniforms enough. So he was arrested in January of 2018 by, and again, be careful about what I say because I don't want the video to get demonetized. But he was utilizing the darkest parts of the dark web to do what only the lowest of the low do, particularly to myself as a single father, objectifies and take advantage of children. So thankfully, the scum of the earth do not seem to be any better at covering their digital tracks than their less sociopathic brethren, kind of the Joe at the office who keeps sending you those unrequested and unrequited Facebook Messenger requests. So it is relatively easy for anybody with half a brain, i.e. law enforcement agencies who are operating on half a brain, to catch them. And that's exactly what his own agency, ICE, did, as well as the FBI. And he received, this individual back in 2018 received 70 months in prison. So this is already kind of done with. Now, 70 months in prison, do not pass go, do not collect 200 Satoshis, do not collect that cookie at the end, the lollipop that you're going to put in your van. Insert jokes here. Now, put yourself, this might be painful, but put yourself in the mind of somebody who just got sentenced to a extended term in prison, right? Questionable. Like, what are you going to do? Like, as far as you know, it is for certain fact, the judge has already sentenced you. You are going to be spending the next indeterminate amount of your life in a federal prison. Like, so what do? Right? You do what anybody would do. You imagine, fantasize, go crazy thinking about any possible way you can get out of here, right? Do you Timothy Leary it out? Do you just get buff? You guys go look up this video on Timothy Leary. Do you guys just get buff like Timothy Leary and, work something out and just, choose one night and boom, over the fence, climb in, hop in a car, whoop, off to Mexico or whatever. I don't know. The last time I saw Timothy Leary, certainly wasn't live, but it was on Space Ghost, Coast to Coast. He was talking about getting high off of light. Hey, if you're doing that, brother, or if you did, big power to you. From what I hear, he died on a bed, probably tripping, surrounded by his loved ones, said it was awesome. I think he certainly faked his life. Anyways, moving on. So do you Timothy Leary it? Do you Shawshank Redemption it? Do you play the long game? Do you go to accounting? Probably not. I feel like, I don't know, maybe that's a stereotype, but I feel like somebody in federal, because it's got to be terrifying. It is terrifying, right? You're in federal prison with that label on you. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the term snitches get stitches, but just imagine what they do if you have that label on you. It's a terrible experience. So you fantasize any possible way, but the most common route, unfortunately, it seems to be go to the prison library, get a few legal books, and very much like the Karen who says, excuse me, sir, I have watched 25 minutes of a YouTube video on this topic, so I am clearly an expert, and I'd like to see your manager. So very much just like that, these, wannabe jailhouse lawyers flood the appellate courts with, I'm going to call them frivolous lawsuits. They're really not, because that is a technical term in the legal system. However, having said that, that is what happened, right? So you have these wannabe jailhouse attorneys who are attempting to use any loophole, leeway, or technical consideration of the case to get off, right? Now, there are times when that happens, but more often than not, the judge ruling is going to rely on jurisprudence, right? Which is kind of let's just call it, and disagree with me if you want, but this is the way I always envision it. It's like a body of knowledge, right? Like, hey, judge, what's going on? Welcome to the judge tribe. Here's your judge uniform. Your job's awesome. You don't have to wear pants to work. This is how we do things around here in America. This is how we've ruled on these things before for a long time. This is why. And so if you ever get a case in front of you where the decision of the plaintiff's life and death is going to be in your hands, right? You can rely on this knowledge, because this is what our ancestors, our judge ancestors before us, used and relied upon. And yeah, so it's not always like, oh, well, the officer, he cuffed my left hand before he cuffed my right hand. Therefore, ipso facto, you need to let me go right now. And you have to tell me if you're a cop, because otherwise that's entrapment. Yeah. Did that one work for you guys in high school? Yeah, me either. So having said that, this is what this individual did. And why, I'm kind of making a big deal about this, is because jurisprudence is determined and factored and figured out by judges and courts hearing novel arguments that they haven't heard before. And so it really upsets me when, I really feel like a wasted opportunity that this scumbag got to present a case in front of a judge that was decided in such a fashion, right, that relied on jurisprudence from another case regarding cell phone data and the Fourth Amendment. But still, this is, where Bitcoin is right now in society, in American society. Any jurisprudence is going to be utilized in the future. When we get to that moment where there is the, where there's the Citizen Kane moment, where like, this is the time, right? We need to know right now, because right now everything's pretty hunky dory, right? There has not been in America a massive crackdown on the use, ownership, or kind of transactions of cryptocurrency. But what if it does come? Because it's going to really, really depend on what the jurisprudence is, what the precedents, the legal precedents that have been set are. And so when we have precedent that seems very minor now, but in the future could be a game changer, it's really a pain. It's really a pain. So at issue was the fact that the FBI, in this particular example, subpoenaed Coinbase's records. Yes, you heard that right. This individual purchased Bitcoin off of Coinbase, all the places you could purchase off of Coinbase, to Bitcoin that was destined for the dark web and illicit purposes. Yes. The story, don't worry, the story certainly only gets better. Now, according to Richard in his appeal, because Coinbase was handling Bitcoin data, it should get special privileges, more pursuant to the Fourth Amendment, even though everything is guided pursuant to the Fourth Amendment, like everything, right? Like you can make a Fourth Amendment claim on everything, okay? And as we have evolved as a society, we have a lot of jurisprudence, a lot of, body of law that determines, generally how things happen, right? So 9 times out of 10, like how often do you hear your buddy coming home and being like, yeah, man, got pulled over for a speeding ticket the other day, but I got him in court on that Fourth Amendment violation, man. He did not signal. You don't hear that, right? Because, just as criminals adopt new technology to defeat the authorities, just like black hats will always use the new method to penetrate, what the white hats protect, the white hats come back and they push back, right? And then, the black hats have to go back and they have to, kind of think about it for a while. And they're like, well, what if we click on the blue icon and we send them this email? So again, security and good versus evil. It's this constant cycle of pushing back and pushing back. But, and again, so for those non-Americans, or if you were, born, if you're under the age of 18, this probably applies to you. If you're unfamiliar with the Fourth Amendment, it's a part of the Bill of Rights. It's a pretty big deal around here. And it provides that the government cannot subject its citizens, at least in America, to unreasonable searches and seizures. This has been, kind of construed and interpreted many different ways. Also applies to warrants, or, kind of as, let me see here, as my grandfather explained it to me, come back with a warrant. That's kind of how I was raised to understand the Fourth Amendment. You a cop? Yep. Cool. Back with the warrant. So let's see here. So Richard, in his case, is arguing that the Bill of Rights says that, as citizens, we're not liable to unreasonable searches and seizures. But it has been previously upheld, and it has been previously upheld that email, cell phone records, digital communication, other things of that nature certainly have called for more stringent respect for the Fourth Amendment, for example, right? And there have been more overturns of those cases. But and not, so again, not just the Fourth Amendment does not just apply to situations involving spring breakers or young libertarian consciousness trippers, experimenting with the American-Mexico border. You crazy young kids, you. But the reality here is that this is such a bogus assertion, right? Like, there wasn't any unreasonable search and seizure. There is no difference from a legal perspective between Coinbase, a centralized exchange, and Citibank. There's no difference. It is a third-party custodian who holds something of value for you that is accountable to the government, right? So if you ever walk into a bank, or if you ever deal with anybody, banks particularly, and you see the stamp, FDIC insured, that means the government owns them, right? Government owns them, right? They have gone to the government and said, yeah, we've got all this money in here. It would just be fantastic if you could insure all this for us, in case we get robbed or, bombed or flesh-eating viruses, streptococcus necrosis all over the money. Fun with Dick and Jane, good movie. And the government does that because, hey, they print the money out of nothing in the first place, right? I wonder if this whole FDIC scam, because it certainly is a scam. I wonder if they collect interest on that. But anyways, so there is no difference, because certainly if you break the law, if you are using your bank to wire money to a terrorist organization in North Korea, who I'm pretty sure, by the way, too, will not stop mobbing me on Fortnite. So if you guys would just please stop, please. I am just trying to enjoy the battle pass. Ridiculous. Then, and you're doing that through your bank, right? So if you are contributing to a terrorist organization that is against your nation state's kind of sovereign interest, then the government has, again, whether you like it or not, has every legal precedent right, and I would argue common sense right, to go to the bank and be like, hey, bank, we're going to need records from Joe's account because we feel like that dude has been sponsoring the Fortnite terrorists and we are tired of them mobbing us, right? As soon as we spawn, they won't even let us get a gun, not even get to a treasure chest. It's ridiculous. And so we want to shut that down. Go government. You'll almost never hear me say that. So, and the bank's going to do that. The bank is legally required to do that. And it's in the bank's best interest to do that because who's a more valuable connection to the bank? You, just the private customer who has, I don't know if you guys seen, this is kind of a graphic, but Hostel 2 by Eli Roth. Hostel 2, there's a scene in there where kind of the protagonist, the female protagonist, we get to the climax of the movie, and you have the kind of abductors who she kind of turns to and she says, I can't remember exactly what's said, but there's kind of a decision point between her, who was supposed to be the victim, she is certainly supposed to be the one who perishes in the scenario, and dude bro over here who's no, don't listen to her. I will give you guys way more money. And the girl's no, listen. I actually got real money. I got Swiss bank accounts. I got millies. I got billies with a B, no problem. And dude over here, sir, probably has money, but he has 6-figure money, right? He has mortgage money. Yeah, he has lower upper class, normal upper class successful businessman money, which is not a lot of money. So the kind of the evil person in the story turns to him and he's like, yeah, man, like more money for you is like a second mortgage. Like, you know, this chick over here like presses a button and there's like millies in our bank account. And that's exactly the relationship from the bank's perspective between you and the government. The government can just flip a switch and boom, you know, multiple zeros into your bank account. Heck, they can do it for me. Maybe they'll do it. Maybe they will do it for me. Maybe if I just reach it, maybe I just ask them very, very nicely. I mean, I've been good. I haven't asked for much, right? You know, always voted. Yeah. Anyways, so, you know, using a centralized exchange like Coinbase is certainly no different from using a fiat banking system. And I realize that I've been on this meme for quite a while. It is funny. So here it is on Law 360. You know, honestly, the jurisprudence that is set isn't that great. And so I am a little hopeful here that those judges who interpret this later on, again, here's a quote. Let's see here. This is a three panel. This was the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. This is a panel of three judges who rule on this. So let's see here. And he referenced the U.S. Supreme Court's 1939 decision, United States v. Miller, but bank records were not subject to Fourth Amendment protections. Or excuse me. No. The panel cited this. Yeah. U.S. Supreme Court. So here it is in black and white. In 1939, in U.S. v. Miller, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that bank records are not subject to Fourth Amendment protections. What is a centralized exchange? It is a digital currency bank. That's it. Period. Not your keys, not your coins. Bitcoin is the only thing, excuse me, well, other cryptos kind of too, but Bitcoin was the first thing that you could have digitally and have it and put it somewhere, and literally nobody can take it from you unless they use force and violence, right? The government, all they have to do is pick up the phone. There's literally nothing you can do to stop the government from freezing your assets. If you have money in fiat currency, you do not control it. You do not own it. It does not really belong to you, right? How can you say that something belongs to you that somebody can just take away with a snap of their fingers? Bitcoin, you can put it in cold storage. You can memorize the seed phrase. You can burn the seed phrase. And you are the only person for all of existence that can access that Bitcoin. And that alone is valuable. That is digital scarcity. Satoshi Nakamoto solved that solved the double spend problem. All right. So yeah, this is nothing like super incredible, right? Like feds just, indicted Coinbase, said, hey, send us this dude's records. We just want to double check the address that he sent to. Yep, this is certainly the deposit address that's listed on this freaky website. And yeah, dude's guilty as sin. So another one bites the dust, and unfortunately had to kind of like butt their life or their kind of desperate struggle for normality. And you know, certainly we can talk about like I don't know, leniency or like compassion, but no. I'm sorry. I do a lot of cool things. I have a compassion for a whole lot of people, and I draw the line real firmly right there. Like, absolutely not. Like, if there is a line, we're on this side of the line, like, hey, we're all human. We all make mistakes. It's totally cool. I got you, man. And on this the line, it's like, no, give me the gun. That's the line. That's the line. All right. So I will put links to all this stuff in the description if you guys would like to research the jurisprudence more. I just kind of wanted an opportunity to rant about the Fourth Amendment. Let me know you guys' thoughts. Let me actually pull up the chat because I am not super paying attention to it. Subpoenaed, not indicted. Thank you so much. All right. Did I buy the key with the car? Agency says ordered society doesn't come from liberty. Liberty comes from ordered society. Yeah, it's kind of like a chicken and the egg thing, right? I think that the more, let me put it to you the way I think about it. The more awesome the individual units of your society are, the more awesome overall your society will be. So if you have a society full of earnest, intelligent, conscientious, passionate, hardworking, just gangster dudes and gals, you're going to have a pretty cool society to live in, right? Where, you know, your fellow society members will probably be like, hey, it's probably a good idea if everybody like tosses $5 in for movie and pizza night every Friday. That's a great idea. Hey, yeah. But, you know, if you have a society that's filled with like, you know, 5 to 10%, you know, earnest, passionate, awesome, hardworking, you solid people. And then there's like a strong, and then there's like a good 70% that are like doing their best to hold it down. But you got a big chunk in there that's just like screwing everything up. Not trying. Then, it's kind of the tragedy of the commons, right? Tragedy of the commons, unfortunately, is like the most lame argument that ever comes up when discussing society, philosophy, economics. But it always happens. It always plays out that way. It's always tragedy of the commons. Always tragedy of the commons. Okay. DIY guy is luckily a member of a society of awesome socialites. Hit me up in the DMs, bro, because I am trying to get into some of those New Zealand bunkers before everything hits the roof. Okay, we have another story that I want to focus on real quick, and then we'll kind of double back, do some chart requests, and see if we got enough time to bring the guys on. And I'm having trouble reading my screen. My eyes are a little watery today. Not actually, what's the opposite of watery? Dry. And I could put the pause menu on, be like, I'm gonna be right back, go get eye drops. I'm not gonna do all that, man. This is live. We get it hard. Okay. So Bitcoin has just opened another week testing increasingly. So let's go take a look at this. Spent a lot of time on the 50. Actually, this is fine. Let's look at the weekly on Bitfinex. All right. So we did end up closing a weekly candle yesterday. Today being Monday, obviously, that's generally what happens. Yes, hey, you start on Monday, you progress sequentially to Sunday, except for those individuals who feel that the week starts on Sunday, to which I say, no, it doesn't, bro. So we had another weekly doji, right? Now, objectively, it's the most recent weekly doji since the last time we had a weekly doji. I mean, look at all the weekly dojis that we've had. And typically, I mean, this is fairly simple, even without Heikinashi, at least. And even if we apply Heikinashi here, I think that'll probably smooth it out way more. We are still in negative weekly Heikinashi territory. I'm really eager for this to actually break trend and push up here. We've talked about this technicals before, spent a lot of time on it. But just regular candlestick charts, another weekly doji, which does still to the degree that I know, for example, this is Alexander's senior analyst Alexander's kind of thesis and trade setup, at least the best that I understand it. I apologize if I mischaracterize you or use the incorrect word from time to time. But weekly doji. So doji candles represent agreement in the market, right? Whereas large violent movements in either direction, up or down, represent a disagreement between buyers and sellers. Otherwise, think about it, like logically, that probably doesn't make intuitive sense. But if buyers and sellers in the marketplace agreed on price, it shouldn't have to oscillate very far. Like we know what we want to buy and sell and get for this, right? So that's agreement. So when we have agreement, we have very little price movement. We have consolidation. This is a price agreement. Generally this happens at highs and lows because at highs, individuals who accumulated. So let's just graph this out. So anywhere around here, any individual that bought around here thought that this area right here was just fine and dandy to sell at, right? They did their part. They bought the dip, 62%. Thank you very much. Make sure to tip your waitresses. And individuals who are just hearing about this Bitcoin thing seem to be more than happy to buy that Bitcoin from them at these price levels, just as they are more than happy to sell it to them at these price levels. So we see a pretty big difference in price evolution from the beginning of May and kind of the beginning of this weekly range, this range of weekly bars here, and the kind of the progression. I mean, just look from, really, if we go all the way back to December of 2019, we have stair steps up, 2 weekly dojis, boom, just 3 ugly weeklies to the face, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I want to talk about that one. And then just, like 7-8 weeks of straight upside, 80% gains. And then we get a little Christmas tree. Get a little Christmas tree action. So we haven't seen, like I've said, straight up, straight down, straight up, and now we've got Christmas tree action. And the last time we saw Christmas tree action was right here. And I just want to point out a couple things. Price had been moving down, Christmas treed on us, i.e. consolidated, and reversed and moved the opposite direction. Same thing over here. Price was moving down rapidly. Christmas tree just a little bit, moved up. Okay. Here we go. Here's 2018. It's the end of the world. Christmas tree, and reversed and went the other direction. And honestly, I laid this all out really well. You guys can go check this out on TradingView if you want, where I go into this in far more detail with my volume profile analysis of the previous trends and directional sentiment of Bitcoin. You guys can go check that out at tv.crackingcryptocurrency.com. But everyone, to be helpful, yeah, I will go ahead and drop that link right in the chat right now. There we go. And so back to the news. So all that to say, we have a lot of macroeconomic factors that seem to support that we are. I mean, you can't deny that we have just sat through and experienced a massive global market recovery. From significant lows, the most rapid decline ever seen in the SPY, for example, and many, many indices in Bitcoin, and then just straight line back up, whether again, we like it or not, right? And potentially this might hint at where the cryptocurrency markets are going to be moving next. Just a second. I'm really not a... All right, so I'm just going to move myself a little bit here because... that dude's face annoys me. Right. Sentiments on stock market futures, they seem to be creeping. They seem to be creeping upwards at market open, and particularly as obviously we saw the follow through on that when the markets opened up this morning. And this was following last week's better than expected U.S. employment numbers, right? Which again I think are extremely fabricated. Just like I think, oh man, sorry, a little bit of a segue here, but there's a very few people that I actually follow to gather, kind of put together my, I'd say like core of fundamentals. And certainly you have to have a source for what's going on with COVID right now. And I think that if you're getting your information about COVID from the mainstream media, you're doing yourself an amazing disservice because COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2 is avant-garde. All right. That is, correct me where I go astray, French for front of the front, right? That is happening right now, this moment. And everybody I'm talking to is pretending, like very arrogantly and wrongly, that they understand what's going on with COVID. That it's either a huge, massive deal and we're all going to die, or it is not a deal whatsoever. Totally was a pandemic, and masks are a silly idea. Okay. Like, the reality is this, okay? We know way less than the quantity of facts that we know about SARS-CoV-2. And that's everything from symptoms to treatment regimens to infection rates to reinfection rates to how long it lives around, how long it lives on surfaces. All of this stuff is still, like, I don't care, man. Like, we are still in the early days of this. So, your very tidy, like, I got this all figured out analysis is speculation at best, and you're probably wrong. And so is CNN, ABC, Fox News. They don't know. The scientists don't know because it takes time. It takes studies, it takes placebos, it takes peer review. It takes a long freaking time to learn stuff about the fundamental nature of reality, like viruses, microbes, bacteria, immunity, like how things pass along, like what factors, like, oh, I don't know, like Mercury in, ascending in Venus is going to have on all this. I don't know, right? But it really annoys me when people pretend that they know what's going on. I don't. So, and I am more well informed than 90% of the people that I meet on a daily basis. And I don't know. I know quite a bit, but I am certainly not arrogant enough to know that I know. So, by the way, shout out to YouTube. If you're a viewer and you happen to know something that I don't, feel free to DM me. I will probably rant about it on stream, but I promise to keep you completely anonymous. And in the spirit of anonymity. All right. I lost my train of thought there. But anyway, so the purpose of that, right? Sorry, I wanted to just kind of finish that. New report, scientific peer-reviewed report coming out of China, that up to so it is of individuals that previously tested positive for SARS-CoV-2, right? Within 4 to 8 weeks, this is like, 1 to 2 months after they were positive, like they tested positive for COVID, did not test positive for antibodies, which means when we talk about, we don't even know if this is going to cause reinfection rates. We certainly don't know how this is going to affect concepts and ideas like contact tracing. We certainly don't know how this is going to affect things like herd immunity. It is pretty natural that antibodies would go down after an initial infection because it does take your body a lot of energy to produce and maintain those antibodies. Those antibodies are just going to hang out in your bloodstream until they notice the thing which they are programmed to notice come into your blood again, and then they're like, and they try to kill it. This is how antibodies work. But it is still like really concerning. The false positives that we might get from that, the false negatives that we might get from that. And so, the fact that I didn't mean this to turn into a big Cove rant, but you have asymptomatic carriers. And unfortunately, here in America, it seems that all my colleagues and cohorts are just ready to, woo, 4th of July, everything's fine, go, party. You guys don't know, man. You guys don't know. So again, I have always taken this seriously. When all this kicked off, I was talking about being worried about this for months prior to. I buckled down with everything that I could possibly need. I was talking about stocking up on freaking lentils on this show. I've never talked about that before. I still have the beans. To be fair, I haven't eaten the dried beans yet. Maybe like twice. But they're there if I need them. And while all this is going on, China decides, the American stock market decides to hit new all-time highs. And the NASDAQ, China's A50 is like, hey, we're coming too, man. We're coming too. Let's hit new all-time highs. And again, talking to our analyst this morning, Alexander sagely pointed out that 1 bit of standout market data is coming out of China, with the FTSE A50 index booming and reaching new all-time highs on the daily, despite ongoing concerns, obviously originating from the Wuhan province and blah 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 blah. Again, throwing my 2 cents in there from everything that I've read and seen. I don't really care how you feel about this, right? Because again, you don't know. It does seem far more likely with the behavior of this virus. And how complicated it actually is, like under the microscope, that it came from a lab, that it did not come from nature. Now that doesn't mean that it was planned to be released. But anyways, moving on. All right, we're already gonna get way too many comments on this. All right, so let's go to the first link on this. This is a Twitter thread from the Amber Group .io. FTSE China A50 index at new all-time highs, surpassing 2015 mania level. As a proxy for risk sentiment in China, this could bode well for crypto, and this certainly does make a whole lot of sense. If the sentiment that we're getting from this chart is that Chinese investors are just like, let's go, buy it, break it, pump it. I mean, it's not an unknown fact that Chinese investors are very bullish, or whether they're bullish or not, they tend to buy a whole bunch of crypto, right? And that is good for, say, somebody like me who is looking to sell a lot of crypto, or have access to high liquidity markets, or, be in a bull run. Need somebody to buy. Somebody's got to kick it off. Come on, China, you go, buy. It seems like investors certainly are not, kind of weighing or, feeling risk off with everything that's going on. I really feel, like I said, the sentiment certainly does seem to be, like if you are not just balls to the wall bullish right now, or all in real estate, or stocks, or the Dow, or whatever, if you haven't gone all in yet, then you are a dummy. You don't know what you're doing, right? Just look at Barstool Sports Dan, right? Like that's basically his platform. Like, hey, this old guard who told you to be like conservative and safe with your money. Yeah, screw that. All you got to do is put it all in the Dow. Be a boss. And if you're not doing that right now, you're a loser. That's what he posts. That is literally the daily stream coming out of Mr. Dan from Barstool Sports. And I mean, obviously look at where his life choices have taken him compared to me. I'm certainly not hating on the dude. But it does concern me as somebody who has been doing this for quite a while, because this is my field of expertise. Paying attention, listening, and applying what I've learned in my life consistently to current and future events. Current events and future possibilities. And that's allowed me to stay in this game and prosper from this game for many, many years, where I've seen many individuals absolutely whiff it. And when I say whiff it, I mean bomb hard. No pun intended. Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, guys. I am not going to be me personally. I'm not, I am not in the bullish, like everything's fine, ooh, all in. However, I do feel pretty strongly about Bitcoin. I would put money into, so this is the difference, right? As an investor, I feel comfortable putting money into Bitcoin. I feel comfortable putting capital into Bitcoin that I will not need for quite a long time, because I feel confident that that process of transferring fiat value into Bitcoin value, right? So converting fiat to sats, because that's what really happens, guys. You have to get that concept out of your head. People think they're like, okay, I exchanged dollars for Bitcoin. Okay, I have $2,700 worth of Bitcoin. No, you don't, man. You do not have $2,700 worth of Bitcoin. That is a facsimile. You have 0.6728496 sats. That's what you have. That's how many Bitcoin you have. You don't own $2,700 worth of Bitcoin. No, you don't. You own the Bitcoin. You could trade it for $2,700 worth of USD, but why would you? Why would you? You could trade it for a lot more USD if you just wait. And if you wait long enough, Neo, you won't have to. All right, we're having a good Monday, guys. I wish, yeah, I got nothing, man. I don't got no like light ups. Hope you guys are slightly as pumped as I am. We can do this. Boom. Yeah, bring the gold sparklies on. Okay. Now, report here from Bloomberg that small lenders in China are, and of course, this is coming off the backs of the kind of gold scandal in China that we talked about last week. Small lenders in China are struggling with this cascading wall of bad debt. And as a response, the PBOC, the People's Bank of China, hashtag, what's that? Hashtag scheme Team Skeletor, is imposing a new program to keep large transactions in check. This new pilot project is planned to run for 2 years, and it's going to encompass over 70 million citizens of China, and will require retail and business clients to pre-report any large intended withdrawals or deposits, right? So they want to know, hey, look, man, if you're going to put a lot of our worthless fiat into or out of the system, you got to let us know in advance, or else that ain't going to fly around here. So businesses are going to have to provide information on transactions exceeding 500,000 yuan. That's about $71,000 cash USD. And for individuals, that's for businesses. For individuals, this threshold spans from 100,000 yuan to 300,000 yuan, depending on the region. Listen, I don't think that many individual citizens regularly transact that quantity of their local fiat. Like, so for example, like, let's just do the math here. So it says here for individuals, 100,000 to 300,000 yuan. All right, so, sorry, number here. So let's just split the baby and call it 200,000. All right, so that's 28,494. Now listen, for the average American, that's an annual salary, okay? That is not like a common number on a bank slip, okay? Just being real, okay? It's not a common number on a bank slip for me, and I'm a pretty blessed individual. I've just made some good decisions. So this really, of course, does hit businesses more. But at the same time, regulators here, off and hey, bye. At the same time, regulators are asking banks to forego profits on loans, I'm assuming, and provide cheap loans to help support the economy, which listen, you're in trouble when the government steps in and says, hey, man, that profit model that your entire company is built off, I'm gonna need you to just pump the brakes on that and hook me up with a solid. And to which any like rational human should reply like, bro, you're the government. Like, why are you coming to me? Never a good answer for that. So, but certainly a initial reason to be concerned. So banks are being asked to forgo profits and provide cheap loans to help support the economy, which is either going to, further strain, but they already have a bad debt issue. I mean, this is starting. I mean, this really does sound like you don't really get an opportunity to watch it happen in advance. I mean, most of you guys, heck, me too, like had no idea what was going on in the financial markets when the housing market crashed in 08, 09, right? When the financial crisis occurred. And now all of a sudden, like, we just have to learn, like, what the heck are CDOs, all right? What are collateralized debt obligations, right? What are credit default swaps? How the heck were banks doing this? Like, I didn't even know Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac was a thing. I got a heck of an education in a very punctuated period of time, which, by the way, if you guys want to research punctuated equilibrium, it's probably the most logical evolutionary theory out there. Moving on from that. So yeah, this is a terrible idea. Already having a bad debt problem, and then commercial banks getting pressured from the central bank of the nation to not provide good loans, i.e. it says forego profits. What they really mean is provide good loans. Because if you provide a loan to a credit-worthy individual, they pay the loan back, you make money. No problem. Hey, somebody who needs the money is getting the money, and you are providing them that, and you are charging interest. All's good. Where's the problem? The problem is when the government steps in and says, yeah, we need you to provide non-profitable loans to individuals, which means people who cannot pay the loan back, right? And, while it's easy to say like, oh, that's just the bank's problem, it's not, because you saw it happen here in America. The financial district passed the buck to the government, and the government via TARP and all the other programs passed it on to Main Street. All right. So if you are an American citizen watching this, really, if you're a citizen of any nation around the world watching this, right? It happened. So I'm American, so it certainly happened here. I watched it happen with my own eyes. The ramifications of this, the side effects of it are still occurring to this day. Okay. Regular individuals, the regular citizens of the nation got screwed, and the banks got bailed out. Right. And I will never, ever, and I have debated some certainly more knowledgeable and intelligent people than this. But, having a background in philosophy helps, because you can simply spot arguments that don't make sense, right? There are truths that you can just see so plainly if you stop worrying about trying to be right and you just focus on paying attention to what's going on in front of you. So this is a huge problem. But at the same time, we see China's FTSE index, the A50, just fly off the charts. Let's go take a look at that again. Let's actually go look over here. Sorry, I just want to look at that. Let's see, Europe. So here is the FXI. This is the large cap ETF. If I were going to trade this would certainly be the vehicle that I used to do so. Let's move me like here. There we go. Okay. So again, not quite the same. This is the ETF. One way to take advantage of it. Let's go to the A50. Boom, boom, boom. Here's the CFD on Owanda, which would be the other vehicle I would use to take advantage of it. And yes, we can just see like just absolute insanity. I would argue that profit target has been hit. Now I don't listen. We'll do it. Screw it. I'll send one for you guys watching across the seas here. All right. You know, earlier how I said don't use the shift tool to measure. Yeah. Just to break rules, man. All right, so 44%. This is very rough. Please do not quote me on this. But if it works, totally quote me on this. Send it. All right, so we're just going to measure the upwards break of about 44%. And that'll do. Right down a little bit. And down just a little bit more. A little bit more conservative. If I'm going to be held accountable for this. What is that movie? What's that movie where the three kind of stoner metalheads knock or take hostage the radio station? Airheads. The Marine guy is like, did you have any military service? Well, I served in the Merchant Marines, sir. Oh, you were in the Marines? Yeah, but I was an accountant. No. You won't be held accountable. Kill them all. All right, 40% to the downside. Remember how I said? Always measure your downside and your upside, which would put us at, you know, price levels that this CFD has not even seen. Now, granted, hey, moving the opposite direction upwards, we reach price levels this CFD has not even seen. So let's just put a balloon right here. Let's see here. We'll call this the end of world measured target. Because just, you know, most likely we deserve this price. For real. Okay. Sorry, guys. Just came here for some serious analysis. Quit drawing lines on the chart, Justin. Yeah, so, I mean, very, very strong candle body close. Looking at the CFD, not unnatural volume that would really draw my attention to it. I mean, this is like barely, 2x the volume moving average. I mean, very impressive candle body close, certainly. I mean, so listen, obviously the first thing that you have to point out is that I will never and can never and will never justify, never recommend entering on any candle like this. So if I were to look for a setup out of here, so let's just have some fun. Let's see here. This is the daily. What do we got? So I don't see really any. Okay, maybe it's very, very loose. Maybe an even atom pattern, maybe. But it's really ugly. Where you have the Eve, and you have the atom, and nope, right here. Even atom, page 244. Sometimes when I'm doing my live streams with my friends online, like I pull out my old college books. All right, 244. What's going on with the likes, guys? Hey, sorry, just pausing. If you guys are enjoying the show and you've been watching me for 2 hours, for the love of God, smash the like, guys. If you have not already, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are here pretty much every day, Monday through Friday, 12 to indeterminate time. Certainly at least till 1. And kind of getting things set up so that we can get more of the guys, more of the crew on for like the weekends, other time slots as well. So subscribe, hit the notification bell, all of them, got to turn them all on. Otherwise, it just won't work. Trust me. I don't know. I'm a doctor, do as I say. But if you're watching us on Twitch or DLive, you can also give us a follow or subscribe to the channel as well. If you are over on Twitch, do not forget, because I don't, that if you have Amazon Prime, you get a free Twitch subscription. No cost to you, and you get some pretty cool perks. We got like cool emojis, like we even paid some really cool gal. I don't know. Is that a bad word? I don't even know if I can say girl nowadays. Really great artist. Shout out to Panda Cat. She did the graphic design for those. Designed the little CC emoji, guys. So if you're in the Discord server, you can use the little CC. So again, big shout out to her. She drew those. But you get access to those as a Twitch sub. Okay, boom, done. Finn. All right, so Eve and Adams. Yeah, see, he's got like some chunky, like nasty looking Eves there. It's kind of a rounded bottom and then a sharp V bottom. All right, so I'm just going to skip right past all the instructional stuff, like focus on failures. What can we learn? Nah, man, just get right to the part where it tells me like Where to measure for the take profit, dude? Come on, man. Trading tactics. To determine how far prices may rise, I just zero. Hold on a second. You know, let me just edit. Okay, got it. Done. All right, use the measure rule. The height of the EADB added to the breakout price. Okay. Compute the height of the pattern from the highest high between the two bottoms to the lowest bottom low. All right, that seems relatively simple enough. Hold on, let me read that like 3 more times. The highest high to the lowest bottom low. Okay, cool. Yeah, simple. Even a caveman could do that, right? Highest high, lowest low. Boop. And right here. Boom. You can do it on the chart, but I just always prefer to use my calculator. So we've got 15,435.5 minus 8,343.9 equals 7091.6. Okay, so that is our difference. So are you guys with me? Are you guys feeling this is Adam and Eve? I'm kind of feeling like it is. All right. Oh, I always suck at doing these curves, man. Oh, come on now. What? Oh, cool. Yeah, it's going to let me continue. Sweet. Yeah, I'm going to roll with it. Yeah, and I'm not. In retrospect, I'm really not digging the aesthetics of that at all. I will just stick with my plain old basic brush. Okay. We've got Eve, the rounded bottom, and Adam, the V bottom. Put them together and you've got da-ba-ba-ba. Potential profit. All right. We'll just measure this price range. Sorry. Make sure magnet mode's on. And price we expect to go up. There we go. And that is actually 70.91 is the difference there. Yeah, we'll just stick it there. That's fine. So we want to take 15,435.5 plus 7091.6. I believe I can fly. And I wonder if I should have some music on for you guys. You guys are really toughing it out just with my voice. I really appreciate it. That's a lot. And I will repay the favor with boom. All right, cool. A little bit of music. So 22527.1. All right. Wow, that's even greater than the end of world target. So we have got to call that like, man. Holy cow. Just being real, guys. Okay. Well, I know what I'm putting all my stimulus money into. Yeah, I think I got to figure it out. Other than that, guys, listen. Little nuances. I think we can actually. I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. Cool. Little nuances here, like obviously this would be considered a breakout trade if you were trying to trade this to the long side. So certainly do not market buy. Do not buy at 16,377. You have quite a ways for price to come down. You've got a like potential 10% drop. Let's go to the 4 hour. There we go. And you know, this is with refresh the page. All right, get out of here, fly. There's a fly in here. All right. Okay, so, well, look at that. This is, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of funny. ISIS spot told you to sell like right here. It's like, yo, bro, get rid of that. I don't know why. I almost feel like that is an error. Yeah, that doesn't really make any sense. Because to generate a sell signal, you have to be... Okay, well, we certainly are... Yeah, okay. So it's just the price had gone so overbought. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, no big worries there. All right, so sell signal there. So you would have sold at the absolute bottom of the rally. But hey, if you had bought and... Let's go see when it told you to buy. It told you to buy right here. All right, so... Hey, you still would have made 8% on a trade. And how are you to know that, you know, waiting in the wings was 14% more? Shh, don't talk about it. So anyways, what I was going to say was, well, yeah, you can use something like ISIS bot to tell you when there's going to be a local top or bottom. ISIS bot did not do so well here on the China A50 index. Did pretty good on this high. And I'm sure it does relatively good on, yep, there's a decline there. There's a sell signal and a little bit more and then a drop. And right here on a drop. Yeah, not doing too bad. Really good sell signal here. Bam. And then a buy right here at the bottom. And then right here. All right, so now I'm emotionally invested in that one. Did we make money? Yeah, maybe. Let's see. To the long side and historical targets. Did I make money? Oh, I certainly did. Boom. Nope, just a little bit of money, not a whole lot of money. All right, anyways, so as far as the A50 would go, listen, indices are volatile. If you guys think trading crypto is volatile, indices are no different. There is so much capital in indices, and normally you would think that with increased liquidity comes reduced volatility. That is true. You have reduced volatility, but you do have increased momentum. Momentum and volatility are two different things. So you can have a lot of momentum and little volatility. Momentum is how quickly is something moving. So price, like how quickly is price accelerating or appreciating or depreciating. And volatility is at what rate of change is that momentum adjusting, right? So how quickly is the change changing, right? So the difference between velocity and momentum, or, excuse me, acceleration and velocity, as Alexander was so keen to point out. So certainly not the trade to take, but I mean, you know, you guys saw it with your own eyes. And yes, I'm having a bit of a row, but we've got this incredibly bullish buy target. I mean, Barstool Sports himself is too afraid to take this trade. I'm not. I will put. Let's see what's in the wallet here. That's a receipt from Menards. Okay, hold on. I got 1, 2, $3 in my wallet. Okay, I will put Alex, if you're watching, can you spot me 20, man? Like, I will put $20 of Alex's money on the A50 with a profit target of holy cow and a stop loss of pay my money. All right. All right. So let's be a little bit more somber here. No, dude, I don't want to listen. I specifically have this plugin installed so that I do not have to, so that I can read the whole Bloomberg article. Excuse me. T-Dub, that's a great question. Where is my VPN traffic going? Did anybody, I'm going to have to go back through the chat. All right, listen. Can any of the moderators watching just scroll through, like, oh my dear Lord. If anybody remembers roughly where we discussed that, because I certainly didn't keep track, and just like go to that area of the chat. You can go to our Discord and always see our historical live chat. If somebody could just, here, let me, you know what? I'm going to open Discord. I got it open right here. Going to the Cracking Crypto server. And we're going to go to live stream chat. Okay. Search for, I don't know. Let's see. I bet somebody said, in live stream chat. And China. Tell us the answer and we will confirm. I feel like that's a backwards way to do it. All right, so Jack, I will DM you the correct answer on Discord. All right, are you ready? I am going to DM you the correct answer on Discord right now. It's done. It's in there. The answer's in. I don't know why I did that, because Jack is literally just going to turn around and be like, oh yeah, you said this to me. That's probably also not fair. So just to be fair here, let me just take a screenshot of that DM. I literally don't know why I did that. It was funny. Okay. OBS. Boom. So here is a screenshot of my Discord TM with moderator Crypto Jack, where he is clearly doing his best to refute my concern over coronavirus, which I respect. Totally get it, man. Jack, I expect to see you on the front line of the beaches, sir, while I restrict myself to my as my staff was got to hear an earful of this morning of my 10 foot by 10 foot like little like semi pseudo inflatable pool that I kind of might have like ripped last year just a little bit. So I have been patching it up, and that sweet feeling when you leave the garden hose on to fill up the pool and you forget about it, and then you remember just in time to get out there like at the perfect full level of full, but just like a few nanoseconds before it was too full, and you know, one of the sides buckled, and now all of a sudden you have no water in the pool. You got to start all over again. And the only reason why that feeling is so sweet is because over the 4th of July weekend, I certainly had at least two of the former, like, oh man, I forgot about this hose. Where did all this water go? Oh my God. All right, so we're getting pretty long in the tooth here on this stream, guys. If you guys, I don't know. You know, whatever you guys want really at this point in time. Let me finish. Yeah, there are a few things that I want to finish up with this story though. Yeah, and of course, over in China, their residents, let's just say, I hesitate to say officially banned from, well, they are. Okay, so they are officially banned from trading Bitcoin. China kind of oddly does respect the property rights to own Bitcoin, but you can't do anything with it. It's like, hey, you know, it's kind of like, if you bought a, do you guys remember Beanie Babies? Like, if you happened to buy a Beanie Baby back in the day, well, we're not going to take it from you. We're going to respect your property rights. But if you try to sell that thing on eBay, we will strike you down with furious vengeance and wrath. We are not playing. No more Beanie Babies on eBay. Flashbacks. Okay. And, listen, despite there being this ban on cryptocurrency, yeah, we see you. We see you, P-Bot. Come on, man. I mean, Chinese investors are very, very bullish on cryptocurrency. And I know because I am in several telegrams where I only understand like 1/10 of what is said. But of that 1/10, let me tell you, man. Yeah. All of their friends in China are incredibly bullish. And, but listen, the entire Eastern Hemisphere are prolific investors and participants in the cryptocurrency space. With, OTC. OTC is an acronym for this is what we have to do to be able to trade crypto in China. Remember that one. That one will be on the one will be on the exit exam. This is why OTC trading is far more popular in China. This is why exchange trading is less popular. And you can see this, like, look at the volumes in the Eastern Hemisphere for cryptocurrency exchanges. Very, very, very low. Look at the, if you go back to the Bitwise volume report, the largest exchanges that were, kind of poo-pooed for, you guys are faking all that volume, man, all that wash trading, almost all of them Asian exchanges. And why? Because Asians aren't trading on cryptocurrency exchanges, on centralized exchanges. They're trading OTC. And again, decentralized exchanges will solve this, but we've got a lot of issues to solve. Just like I was very consistent on this. I've been very consistent on this. I think the last time I really talked strongly about decentralized exchanges last year, I was very, very clear that yes, this certainly is the way to move forward, but the technology and the user experience is just not there. And here, listen, I'm not going to do it. And I'm hardcore Bitcoin, right? I've got the new version of Electrum. I've got a Lightning node set up. I mean, I am doing all the things, guys. Listen, I am even like listening to Loop-Jur a little bit when he says like, well, you shouldn't upgrade to SegWit if you don't plan to go to Lightning, because SegWit is actually like kind of bad for the network. You should like definitely be doing all that on Lightning. And like, I'm trying really, really hard, core devs. I'm trying really hard to be the good person and do the right thing. But I am telling you this. If your user interface for my primary economic activity, which is trading, is not user-friendly, no. This is why I'm not doing more DeFi. This is why I'm not doing more DeFi. Uniswap, hey, cool. I get into Uniswap. I provide liquidity. I enjoy it. Welcome to Uniswap V2. Press this button. Button doesn't work. Go to the Reddit. Can you guys help? Yeah, we don't know, bro. Okay, nobody knows. And I'm still on Uniswap V1. Some of them. If anybody can help me out, shoot me a DM. Still. But finance margin, when they first launched it, no, absolutely not. Not using this. Screw you. Finance margin now? Hey, I like it. It's cool. And now that 3 commas has got their whole thing fixed where you just, man. Okay. Now, yeah, and obviously there's a huge underground market for cryptocurrency in China, particularly, where, we could talk about other Asian nations, but in China, where there is an actual official nation state ban on trading cryptocurrency, I mean, there is, from all reports, a booming underground industry, particularly with mobile devices. Recently, one mining pool located in China saw its second biggest outflow in history, leading to, obviously, just simple math, that Bitcoin, listen, it's not going to end up with a bang or a whimper. It's going to end up with a huge, huge OTC sell-off. Obviously, we've had a massive amount of drama. When I say drama, I really mean like probably the most pertinent human rights violations that are going down on planet Earth that you should certainly have a strong philosophical, political, and emotional bias on, but probably haven't really talked about too much. Let me give you this opportunity to revisit those opinions. What is going on with China? In Hong Kong with China's, let me just say it for what it is, violent, occupied invasion of the country, use of totalitarian tactics, use of deception and tactics. I have not seen, since since I was in Houston, Texas, and I was like 13, and I walked up to this this kind of shoe stand, like pop-up shoe stand, like to buy some, like, I know they're like fake Nikes, right? They were J1s, right? I knew they were fake, but like they look nice. I wanted them on my feet, and tried to out hustle the hustler. Like, I have not seen, deceptionary tactics like what is going on in Hong Kong since then. And that's saying a lot. Whew. Oh man. Houston, not a huge fan of. Austin, good place. Good place. I don't even know where to start with Hong Kong. That could be a whole rant. So I'm just going to push on from there, right? And so far, this has largely not had a dramatic impact on Bitcoin, or so we think, because the price is still relatively the same. It's usually like significant things happen underneath the surface, right? You have to be in the know to see the significant thing occurring. And it's only after the significant thing has occurred that you read about it in the newspaper, because it's not significant anymore. It's already happened. There's nothing you can do. The newspapers are not there. Mainstream media is not there to tell you what to do. They're there to tell you that something happened. And almost always, that is no longer something that you can control. You have to step outside the box, right? And again, I talk to so many people and they're like, well, you just want me to stop watching like CNN. No, I want people who are watching Fox to stop watching Fox. I want people to stop being told what to believe and like just read something, original. Reports say that out of this new report out of China, COVID patients, go read the report. Like, go track it down. It's online. Everything's online. Just go read it. It's going to take you 30 minutes. It's going to take you 15 minutes to watch this summary. And you're going to learn more just by going and reading the thing. I don't know. Maybe you'll find like a cute baby name. Always like an idea. And if we take a look at the Bitcoin network, like if we look at metrics like Glassnode's, for example, right? We need to come back here maybe tomorrow and look at Glassnode's metrics. It is, looking at difficulty, it is set for another healthy uptick next week with the next difficulty adjustment. Let's see here. Bitcoin difficulty estimator right here. diff.crypto.this. Let's go ahead and bookmark that. All right, yeah, we are set for a 7% increase. Of course, our last difficulty adjustment was last Tuesday. So our next target's going to be in 1 more week. So we're about halfway into this. So that is a pretty healthy number that's probably going to stay relatively consistent. And this is a good, healthy upgrade. So where is the catalyzing capitulation of miners? Which, yes, to my undying credit, I weighed out both sides. Moving on. And we know that Bitcoin mining is heavily located in China. May we even say centralized in China. China does not seem to care. Does not seem to care whatsoever. Meanwhile, hash rate, which is an estimate of the computing power that's already devoted to mining. Difficulty is an estimate of the processing power yet to be devoted. Has hit highs of over 120 exahashes this weekend. Let's go look at blockchain. Exchanges. Mining. Hash rate. No moving average. Boop. All right, so we're back up above 120 exahash. This is, and listen, I've pointed this out before, but like, this is just 2018. All right, so like, this is like the peak of hash rate in 2018. This was already bordering on like, bro, we got the security of this network locked down. So we are operating well into, we've gone to plaid mode. Like we genuinely do not need this much hash rate to get, the bare minimum of what Bitcoin needs as a secure, reliable network. Which, by the way, I am not aware of anything else that has run basically like drama free. And it's like, that's a oversimplification. There's been dramas. Like, I was there for some of them. For almost 10 years, guys. Like, hitch free, no problems. You put your money in this thing and it's there, does what it says on the sticker. Man, people are just so gosh darn unappreciative. All right, let's look at this last link. All right, if we take another look at China, the Chinese state media, bastions of morality, is helping fuel the already exuberant stock market giddiness spree. Did I say euphoria? I meant euthanasia. And this is pouring more fuel on this rally with front page editorials that are advising citizens to remain bullish on their markets and to trust in the healthy bull market. Listen, you know, this is, I can just see President Xi getting on the state media and saying, listen, my people, from here, from me to you, all right? You see the number go up, all right? We make number go up. We got this. Number's going to keep going up. We don't do bull markets like Americans do. This is a Chinese bull market, goddammit. And that number is going to climb. You guys should watch this YouTube video. There's this cat named Justin who runs this company called Cracking Crypotcurrency. And he has a price target that he just put a bubble on there that said, holy cow, that's where we're going. Alex, I really need to borrow that 20, bro. Okay. And apparently there is a, let's find this here. All right, so we've got, Peter, ooh, man, that's a scary one. Bukvar, Peter Bukvar, yeah. He is the chief investment strategist at Bleakley Advisory Group. That means he did get an MBA, and he probably did put all his money on now. He says, quote, we have the Fed to juice bull markets in America, and China has its state media. Listen, guys, yes, I know I'm coughing. It is certainly not the COVID. I don't know, maybe it's, I don't know. But it is the fact that I've been going for 2 hours and I'm pretty thirsty and I ran out of water an hour ago. So with that being said, we got to wind it down, guys. Yeah, we got to head for the door. I got stuff to do. It is 2:00. With that being said, guys, let's hop over to the other shot. Did we make it? We transitioned? Oh, but you guys got all that. Okay. All right. So thank you guys for joining me for another episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. Of course, I'm your host, Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at crackingcryptocurrency.com. Hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic day. Thank you guys so much for coming by. Really enjoyed the show today. I apologize for not being live and as available as I normally am last week. But even I get sick. And when I get sick, which I don't do often, but when I get sick good and proper. And I turn into a proper, crybaby Krabby Patty. And, damn it, that's my American right. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, and or death threats, there is a comment section down below on YouTube. And if you're not watching on YouTube, that means you're probably watching on Twitch or DLive, which means you can drop a follow or a subscribe. Help support the channel. Thank you guys so much for the patronage. Of course, on YouTube, hit the like button on your way out, unless you hated everything I said, in which case, why are you still watching me? Jeez, man. Look in the mirror, bro. We will be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Yes, that is the time zone that we use here in the middle of the country, not on the wackadoodle, east or west ends, where they're far more likely to die from catastrophic events. Make sure to catch us in the Discord. And of course, if you guys are interested, all kidding aside, if you're interested in learning the financial markets, learning how to build your own objective, indicator-based strategy, and you guys would like to join our mastermind community of traders and investors, take advantage of our mentoring, take advantage of our proprietary indicator suite designed to help take some of the guesswork out of trading for you, learn how to build objective systems through our online trading academy and all of our walkthrough courses, and much, much more. Make sure to check out everything that we do as a company at premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Link in the description down below. Until tomorrow, I've been Justin. You guys are awesome. Trade safely and treat everybody with respect, guys. We're all in this together. Cheers.